Under a low-grade December sky at Willow Creek Bridge, a postal truck idled at a crooked angle, the driver's door hanging open. A warm lunch pail on the seat, a gold wedding ring winking in gravel, a mailbag with 3 undelivered letters tucked in the footwell. December 15th, 1976. Cedar Falls, Montana. Until DNA finally broke the silence and gave investigators a name to chase. But before we dive into this case, I'm curious. What true crime stories have you heard about in your town? And when did they happen? Drop it in the comments below. Let's see how many local mysteries are still out there.
Route and clock. Rural Route 7 runs about 18 miles through pine, ranchland, and narrow gravel spurs. By routine, Daniel Hasker's midday pass brings him within a few miles of the end before he loops back toward town. At 3:47 p.m., a passing motorist finds the truck pulled skew at Willow Creek Bridge, roughly 3 miles from the route's finish. The engine is still running. The radiator fan hums in the December air. Bridge tableau. Driver's door yawed open. Cab neat, no smashed glass, no pry on the locks. On the seat, a lunch pail still warm, a half-eaten sandwich in wax paper, a thermos that still steams. Cigarettes lie scattered as if a pack was torn in haste. The layout reads, interrupted, not wrecked. Witness note, the motorist calls it in. The sheriff arrives about 20 minutes later with a deputy and a volunteer firefighter. Baseline tasks start immediately. Photograph, log, bag. Wind lifts off the creek. Flurries begin. Found, not found. Found, primary evidence, a wedding ring in gravel by the rear tire. Physical, a mailbag containing only 3 undelivered letters addressed to the final stops on Route 7. Context. Also found, wallet thrown into tall grass about 20 feet away, cash missing but ID still inside. Lunch pail warm, thermos steaming, cigarettes scattered in the cab, odometer 127 miles, consistent with near continuation of the day's circuit. Not found, a crash field, no skid, no gouge, no broken glass, any clean pry or smash on doors, a continuous outbound footwear trail from the driver's side, or a witness to a consensual pickup. Immediate response. Perimeter is set. A corridor canvas runs along the creek road and fence lines. Search teams work banks and timber. Search dogs from Billings take scent at the water's edge and lose it to the current. Divers clear deeper pools downstream. On day 4, a postal cap is recovered about 200 yards below the bridge. Inside the crown, a short pencil line. Tell them I'm sorry. The note is logged and sealed. Surface, visibility, environment. Gravel shoulder tapering to compacted dirt near the abutment. Willow scrub crowds the margins. Wind off the creek is constant. Flurries knock down visibility. Brush and tall grass complicate near-ground tracks. Working window, minutes, not hours. Engine running, lunch pail warm, thermos steaming, driver's door open. Those signs anchor a near-bridge intercept window of about 5 to 20 minutes before the motorist's arrival at 3:47 p.m. Longer gaps belong to the broader route timeline. The actionable opportunity at the scene is measured in minutes. A gold band catching a flashlight beam beside the rear tire. Evidence bags rustle on the bridge. At a kitchen table, a pot roast cools while 2 kids watch the road for headlights that never come. Accident, single vehicle. What we would expect. Skid or gouge approaching the abutment. Glass scatter. A bumper scrape. Vehicle displaced offline. Injuries or blood near the cab. What we have. The truck sits skewed but intact. No skid, no gouge, no broken glass. Engine running. Driver's door left open. The mailbag with 3 undelivered letters remains in the footwell, consistent with a route interrupted, not a crash. Mechanical breakdown. What we would expect. Hood up, tools out, hazard placement. Driver securing the cab, keys out, door shut, before walking for help. What we have. Hood down, no tool roll, no road flares, door yawed open, thermos still steaming, lunch pail still warm. Mechanical failure implies dwell and preparation. The scene shows neither. Voluntary walk-off, self-harm. What we would expect. Truck parked cleanly. Secured cab. Personal effects purposefully arranged. A direct on-foot line from the driver's side toward the creek.
Possibly a note left in a predictable location. What we have: a wedding ring found in gravel by the rear tire, not at the rail. A wallet tossed into tall grass about 20 feet from the truck, lateral, not creekward. A cab left open and running. On day 4, a postal cap is recovered about 200 yards downstream with the pencil line, "Tell them I'm sorry." The cap's message aligns with a self-harm narrative. The ring location and wallet toss argue the contact point was near the truck, not the rail. Both can be true only if the subject or another actor deliberately misdirected the narrative. Ride with an acquaintance. What we would expect: a second vehicle observed on approach or departure. Paired footwear impressions. The driver taking essentials, wallet, ring, or locking up. A cleaner park angle. What we have: no corroborated pickup. No continuous outbound footwear trail preserved. Wallet discarded. Ring separated. Weather: flurries, creek wind, can erase light ground story. But the engine running open door profile reads abrupt, not consensual. Animal or environmental drag. What we would expect: blood trace, torn fabric, drag signature across gravel to the rail, hair or tissue, downstream article clustering close to the entry point. What we have: no blood, no tear field, no drag. Canine carry sent to the water's edge and lose it, which fits a water transition but does not explain the wallet's lateral throw or ring at the rear tire. Staging, third-party intercept. What we would expect: an offender shaping scene signals, items displaced, ring, wallet, cash removed but ID left, note or message planted to steer narrative. What we have: cash missing while ID remains, ring separated at the truck, cap with message found days later downstream. This set fits a near-vehicle contact with deliberate misdirection toward the creek. It also accommodates the short on-scene window and the absence of a crash or repair posture. Era and scene limits. Bridge span with no fixed cameras, winter light, flurries reducing visibility and degrading ground prints, water diluting scent and trace. Processing is constrained by low light and cold surfaces. Photograph, log, bag, while the current removes or relocates small items within hours, not days. Provisional read, present absent logic. Accident, not supported, absent crash signatures. Mechanical, not supported, no repair posture, engine running. Voluntary walk-off self-harm, partially supported by the cap message and canine loss at water, undercut by ring wallet placement and the abrupt open cab profile. Ride with acquaintance, weakly supported, tight window, undercut by discarded essentials and lack of witness. Staging third-party intercept, best fit for the near truck contact plus misdirection toward the creek. Working window, minutes, not hours. Engine on, food warm, steam visible fix the near bridge opportunity to about 5 to 20 minutes before the 3:47 p.m. discovery. Hypotheses requiring extended prep, mechanical repair, careful staging on rails, do not fit this minute scale window without additional actors or prior setup. Steam curling from a cup while the river swallows the footprints. A checklist rules out scenarios by absence. 2. School backpacks, wait by a door that stays dark. Community grid, ground, canine, water. Within the first light after discovery, deputies divide the creek corridor into short sectors anchored to fence posts, culverts, and the bridge abutments. Volunteers walk shoulder to shoulder along willow and grass at about 1 to 2 meter spacing, marking turns with flagging tape. Canine teams take scent from the cab and the lunch pail, follow it down the embankment, and lose it at the water's edge. As flurries build, a fast, narrow-band search repeats on the gravel approaches, ranch spurs, and the downstream bank for about 25 to 40 minutes at a time before rotating teams to keep eyes sharp. Air-terrain constraints. Creek wind flattens breath and carries sound. Visibility contracts under intermittent snow. Surfaces shift from loose gravel to compacted dirt and slick boards on the bridge walkway. Past the guardrail, tall grass and willow stems break drag patterns into fragments that are hard to read after even about 10 to 15 minutes of snowfall. What the file shows as preserved, logged, and bagged. Wedding ring recovered beside the rear tire. Physical. Wallet in tall grass about 20 feet off the passenger side arc. Cash missing. ID and work card present. Physical/context. Mailbag with 3 undelivered letters for the day's last stops. Context. Lunch pail still warm, thermos with steam at first contact. Scene condition notes. Cigarette remnants scattered in the cab. Truck odometer recorded against route mileage. Postal cap recovered about 200 yards downstream on day 4. Pencil line inside the crown. Tell them I'm sorry. All items are photographed in situ, lifted, dried if needed, and sealed in labeled envelopes or bags with collection time, initials, and location tags. What is not in the file, and matters. No fixed cameras on the span. No exterior lighting beyond the bridge lamps and passing headlights. No verified witness to a pickup or confrontation. And no continuous outbound footwear trail that survives weather and foot traffic. The creek's current adds uncertainty to minute-scale item drift, making downstream finds hard to anchor to a single entry point. Why the case cooled? The actionable window at the truck, about 5 to 20 minutes before discovery, left little scene time for clear ground story. Early passes prioritize containment and rescue assumptions. Weather removes or blurs light trace within the first hour. Without independent corroboration, camera, second driver, contemporaneous confession, the narrative splits. Near vehicle intercept with staging versus self-directed creek entry. Interviews age. Minor discrepancies widen. Call-ins taper after the first week. By winter's end, leads are thin and the file shifts to periodic review. Paper trail and custody. The record includes a photograph list keyed to item numbers, property receipts for each transfer, and a running chain of custody log. Who collected, sealed, received, opened, and returned. Reopen events are noted with time, initials, reason, e.g. latent check, comparative trace, and reseal identifiers. The ring, wallet, and cap show continuous seals from field collection to evidence storage, with later openings documented and cross-initialed. No breaks, substitutions, or unlogged gaps are indicated. Operational tempo. Minutes, not hours. Search blocks are structured in about 30-minute pushes with short resets for warmth and coordination. Radio checks roll every 10 to 15 minutes. That cadence keeps pressure on likely corridors but cannot outpace water and weather after the first afternoon. Key traces either surface early or are gone. Provisional status at the cold turn. The file closes its first phase with preserved core items, mapped search sectors, negative canvas notes, and a timeline tight enough to exclude slow scenarios, mechanical repair, planned walk-off with staging done on site. The remaining models require either deception at the truck or a transfer not directly witnessed. A pencil line inside a wet cap, turned to the margin for drying. Inventory sheets stack in a manila folder. At a quiet house, the porch light burns past midnight, then another, then another. Reopen kit, clean protocol. Evidence is unsealed one item at a time inside a controlled hood. Wedding ring, underside of bezel and inner band. Wallet, interior seams, card slots, fold creases. Cigarette remnants, filters paper. Postal cap, inner sweatband crown. And the mailbag surfaces for context mapping only. Fresh gloves per item. Tool changes between lifts. Pre-post swabs on bench and forceps. Reagent blanks logged. Immediate eliminations are collected before comparisons. Household family, first responding sheriff deputy, and the diner motorist. Low template recovery. Porous handled surfaces, wallet seam, cap band, go to MVAC wet vac with micro sieve capture. Ring interior and cigarette filters are sampled by low shear swab. Extracts are quantified by qPCR. Touch DNA returns are low, sub-NG. A mini STR attempt yields partials insufficient for CODIS entry, but adequate to flag a foreign contributor distinct from Daniel Hasker and the eliminations. SNP library and metrics. A low-input SNP library is built from the highest yield foreign extract. Wallet seam plus ring composite after duplicate confirms. Fragment distribution centers around 120 to 150 BP. Post-QC call rate lands around 92 to 94% with heterozygosity consistent with a single-source male rather than a complex mixture. Negative controls remain clean. Reagent blanks show no allelic bleed-through. FGG guardrails. Uploads are limited to opt-in law enforcement portals. GEDmatch Pro, FTDNA LE. An audit package travels with the dataset. Case type, jurisdiction, consent basis, hash values, timestamps, and named access roles. Non-consenting databases are excluded. Searches are confined to investigative leads only. Every portal action is logged. Who, when, what was viewed, exported. Tree build workflow. Cousin matches at the 2C to 3C range anchor a most recent common ancestor, MRCA, in a Midwestern line that forks west across the Rockies by the 1940s. A working tree is assembled from public records and obituaries. Age sex filters narrow to males of the right birth window who plausibly intersect Cedar Falls, Montana in December 1976. Occupational and address records provide route adjacency checks. Who lived, worked, or transited within about 1 to 5 miles of Willow Creek Bridge. Who had schedules aligning with about 3:20 to 3:45 p.m. on weekdays. Shortlist. To Lemmer 3. After pruning non-starters, wrong age, deceased before 1976, out of region, the tree yields a shortlist of 2 to 3 men with plausible proximity and timeline fit. A simple table, name, DOB, last known address in 76, link to MRCA branch, reason for inclusion, is prepared for investigators. Cross-checks against innocent transfer. Chain of custody shows continuous seals from 1976 to reopen. The foreign profile repeats across independent lifts. Ring interior, wallet seam, not solely from the water-exposed cap. All family first responder eliminations are negative. Bench and reagent blanks are clean. Scene logic supports near-truck contact. Ring in gravel at the rear tire. Wallet tossed about 20 feet laterally. Engine running and door open. Signatures poorly explained by casual handling or store contamination. Deliverable to investigators. The pedigree tree with MRCA path and match notes. A short list to Lemmer 3 with route time rationale. The audit packet, hashes, access log, consent. A confirmation plan. Targeted surveillance on the shortlist. Lawful discard collection of reference DNA. Lab comparison, STR CODIS style to the foreign profile. If matched at probative levels, request a court-authorized confirmatory buckle. Skin cells caught where a gold band meets its shadow. A digital tree blooms with names and arrows. A quiet bridge still remembers steam rising from a thermos in the cold. Lead, classic workflow. Forensic genealogy remains a lead, not proof. Investigators move to traditional confirmation. Quiet surveillance on the shortlist. A lawful discard is collected from a takeout coffee cup dropped into an outdoor bin after a pre-work stop. The lab develops a STR profile from that cup and compares it to the foreign profile recovered from the ring interior and wallet seam. The comparison returns a match at probative levels. With counsel review, a court-authorized confirmatory buccal swab is obtained. The second test reproduces the profile without mixture flags. Match statistics. Plain language. The confirmatory STR match yields an RMP well below 1 times 10 to the 12, and a likelihood ratio above 10 to the 9th in favor of the same source, expressed to the case team in clear, non-technical terms. The bench controls and reagent blanks remain negative. All eliminations, family and first responders, are already on file and remain non-matching. Corroboration, access, opportunity, route logic. Records place the subject living about 2 to 3 miles from Willow Creek Bridge in late 1976, and working shifts that routinely put him on or near rural Route 7 in the 3:20 to 3:45 p.m. band on weekdays. He had reason to know the creek approach and the pull-off used by service vehicles. Vehicle history confirms he owned a pickup typical for the area and era. Timeline notes show his presence aligned with the 5 to 20 minute intercept window indicated by the running engine, warm lunch, and open door. Chain of custody for the legacy items, ring, wallet, cap, is continuous. There are no logged breaks or unexplained openings. Arrest, time, place, coherence. At 6:18 a.m., officers contact the subject in a workplace parking lot just after he steps from his truck. The timing avoids household occupants, matches his known routine, and honors the terms of the warrant and operational risk planning. He is taken into custody without incident. Vehicle and residence search authorities, where applicable, follow standard scope and minimization. Charging framework, 3 pillars. Prosecutors round probable cause on. Identification. The STR match from lawful discard replicated by a court-authorized buccal swab, reported with conservative error metrics. Access opportunity. Residence and shift records, placing him within the minute-scale window at Willow Creek Bridge on the date in question. Corroboration, scene logic, near-truck contact, negative eliminations, continuous seals on key items, and the narrative consistency of the wallet toss and ring separation with a third-party intercept. FGG remains cited only as an investigative lead with full audit logs. It is not used alone for probable cause. Technical closeout. What was tested, why it was enough. Tested. Ring interior and wallet seam, touch DNA. Cigarette remnants, context. Postal cap, sensitive but water exposed. And the discard cup. Reference. Thresholds. qPCR quantitation supported low template SNP build. STR confirmation hit full reporting criteria. Lab controls were negative. Mixture assessment indicated a single source male on the foreign profile. Why it was enough. The independent replication, discard to buckle, minute scale access, and non-overlapping controls closed common alternate explanations. Innocent transfer, bench contamination, responder carryover. Frost fog lifting off a paper coffee cup while the lab call comes through. Warrants tick boxes and signatures. In a quiet kitchen, a pair of school photos is set back on the shelf beside a wedding ring that finally means what it was meant to mean.